uh, we have been learning about benzene mechanism in the morning. There are certain other evidences which shows that there is definitely a benzene mechanism happening in few reactions. For instance, if we have this, aminobenzoic acid, and we know that any primary amine, we learned that any 1 degree amine, when we treat that with NaNO2 and HCl, it will undergo diazotization and will get diazonium salt or diazonium ion in this case, diazonium ion. And we learned that diazonium ion, if we treat that with Ki, immediately this N2 will release and iodine will come through the mechanism ArSN1 kind. And amazingly, it has been seen that 100% only this product is forming. So which means here the mechanism is completely driven by ArSN1. But if the same thing is carried in basic medium, right, after the formation of diazonium ion, if we use basic medium, OH minus, first acid base reaction will take place. OH minus will extract this proton and it becomes COO minus. And COO minus, if you observe here, when within a molecule, if you have a positive charge and a negative charge, you call that molecule as a Zwitter ion. So there is a Zwitter ion formation here, and from here you can observe the Zwitter ion, you can observe this will become CO2 forming out carb anion here. So first there will be carb anion formation, and then N2 molecule would leave as a leaving group from here. Thereby a benzene is formed. Right. So thereby there is a benzene formation seen, N2 gas and CO2 gas will be removed. And since you are heating here, heating helps easily to break this CO2 bond. So the benzene which is formed normally is in gaseous state. So if we take those vapors and condense that, or in the gaseous state, if you observe, we will see that dimerization of benzene will take place. Okay. See, the lifetime of benzene is very short, 2 into 10 raised to the power of minus 8 seconds. It will instantly caught up into formation of dimer. So this is an evidence showing that there is benzene mechanism involved in this. Okay. Please make a note of that, everyone.
So it may also trimerize, no sir?
What beta?
The benzene may also
It may
trimerize, no sir?
trimerize also, depending upon how much amount of
Trimer.
benzene that is forming. Trimer is more stable. Okay. So I'm not getting into that detail. It is just to identify the evidences. Okay. Right. Overall, if you see, when the benzene mechanism is taking place, first there is an elimination, right, because we are removing that H plus, and then we are making an addition reaction. So what kind of a reaction this is? This is actually an SNEA type of mechanism. First an elimination, then an addition reaction happening. So if you recall, we started our entire chapter from SN2, SN1, then SNNGP, then SNAE, addition and elimination, and then benzene mechanism, which is nothing but SNEA mechanism. Okay. If anybody has missed writing, don't you worry. I mean, I'll be sharing the notes, so rewrite that again. Okay. Now check this. There would be certain questions which will coming from this area, especially to ask what type of a mechanism is involved, whether it is SN1, SN2 or SNEA kind. So for this, if you observe, first, if there is any fluorine group, withdrawing group here on benzene, and there is a nucleophile approaching, in the morning we learned that this is going to go by ArSN2 kind. In ArSN2, what is going to happen? We know that first there would be an addition here. So we will have NHR2 plus and fluorine. We will have double bond O here. like this, and this minus charge will start moving around. We call this as Mesenheimer complex, and from that fluorine would be removed out as the leaving group there, and we'll get NR2 double bond O. That H will eventually be left by fluorine, so HF will come out. Okay, this is what you would see. In this case, what has happened, what type of a mechanism that has happened? First there is an addition, then there is an elimination, right? So it is SN addition elimination reaction. This would be asked, guys. Okay, this type of questions are usually asked. Start writing that. Here we have nitration to be done because this is a nitrating agent, so we will get NO2 electrophile. So overall reaction would be electrophilic aromatic substitution. Okay, so this is an SE type of a reaction. So first what is involved here is SE mechanism, that is electrophilic substitution mechanism. In SE what is going to happen, we know that NO2 will be attacking on any of these 4 carbons. Now when you have bromine, that is halide and an alkyl group, generally it is seen that the ortho position of halides, that is more preferable as compared to that of alkyls. So you would see NO2 would come here, bromine, and CH3 would come here. Although CH3 is relatively more donating, but with respect to bromine, right, so there is a chelation which helps it to form here. So we have N, right, double bond O, O minus here, this way. So the lone pair on bromine will make resonance stabilization, getting positive charge on it, which will attract this. So chelation is the reason for NO2 to come up there. Okay, once you get there, again Cn minus will attack as which mechanism here? Again it will be aromatic SN2 type of a mechanism. So cyanide will replace bromine and we will get NO2 and CH3. So what are all the mechanisms involved here? SC was involved, then SN, AE was involved. Both these chlorines can be removed out because you have a withdrawing group, right? So nucleophilic substitution can take place. Just in the morning we have studied how the nucleophilic substitution happens. Here in SH, especially in the basic medium, see the medium is basic, so this OH minus will take away this H plus, increase the nucleophilicity of S, and usually the lone pairs of sulfur are more nucleophilic, so that would attack here, remove out chlorine. Now which chlorine will be removed? With respect to this chlorine, NO2 is at meta position, that is not going to help. So with respect to this chlorine, if you remove that, this S can be attached there. So therefore the product formation would be, we'll have chlorine here, right, NO2 here with S getting attached here with bromine. Again, what type of a mechanism is involved here? This is also SNAE, and the actual mechanism is aromatic SN2. Note that. Not every time you will see NO2 only, this SO2Me is also withdrawing group. Okay, so usually whenever we see NO2, okay, SO2Me, correct, then we have double bond O. If you have this kind of a groups attached, they usually encourage the nucleophilic attack. Just keep on recalling the points. Sir, why that has happened? Because we need to stabilize the Mesenheimer complex. Mesenheimer complex will be more stabilized by withdrawing groups. Okay. So therefore again the product formation would be this one, MESO2 here, and on this side we will get this nitrogen getting combined here with HBr coming out. Type of mechanism again SNAE type. Addition elimination happened here also. Faster. Okay, let's see the next one. Same thing, just like these are the withdrawing groups, CF3 is also a very strong withdrawing group that will also help for substitution reaction to favor. So we can see CF3 and here nitrogen getting attached. This phenyl group here and a double bond present here with HF. Type of mechanism is also SNAE. See the next one. When you have CH3, we can have nitrations happening at different locations, out of which I am choosing one product. Okay, so let's say I have already given you the product here, nitration happening here at para position. We can take ortho also because both of them are quite comparable, so we can't say one is very major or something. But in case of CH3, we usually see major as ortho if at all we have to compare. Next, H2 PDC, it is a reducing agent here, so it will reduce this NO2 to NH2, and this is what happens. Sometimes questions will be asked like what is the oxidation state of nitrogen here. It is changing from -3 to +3, sorry, +3. Here it is +3 and it is changing to -3. So on whole, if at all reduction wise, if you check, there are 6 electrons involved in that. And then we know that once you get a primary amine here, this is methyl, primary amine will undergo diazotization, so plus minus, so this is diazonium salt, toluene diazonium salt. And from there if you see CuCN, right, CuCN is been used. So what is CuCN? Sandmeyer's reaction, if you check it out, right? So thereby we can get CN substituted here with methyl formation. Alright. So what are all the mechanisms that are involved here? So first involvement was Se, electrophilic addition. Thus there is a reduction also taking place, catalytic reduction taking place. Then there is a diazotization formation. Okay. After that you will see N2Cl has been replaced by this. This is a set mechanism, single electron transfer mechanism. Remember that Sandmeyer's reaction. So these are the types which have been involved.
Sir,
Huh.
sir, in case of toluene, ortho should be major product, no sir.
हाँ बेटा, I said I am taking para just for the reference, okay?
Okay, sir.
ठीक है? So if it is given, but otherwise ortho is major, yeah? Right. Everybody got this? So please be careful with these type of questions. Anything could be asked, either the product side, oxidation states, like type of mechanism. So be prepared with all of this kind. Okay, day 2 sheet has all these type of questions. Start doing that. Okay. If anybody has missed any points, please don't worry about it. You can check back the notes and rewrite that. Now let us come to polyhalogen compounds. So if you have multiple halides on a group, we usually call it as polyhalogens. Mainly we will study about halogens first. In halogens we have CHF3, CHCl3, CHBr3, this is fluoroform, chloroform, bromoform and iodoform. See, these halogens are colorless while this is yellow color solid. Okay. Now let us focus on preparation of haloforms here. First preparation, CF3COOH, this will go for soda lime decarboxylation. NaOH and CaO, it would first form CF3CO minus and On heating, it would become CHF3. So that's how fluoroform is prepared. Most of the cases when you have to prepare bromoform, chloroform or iodoform, then we will be using this haloform reaction, which is also a very important reaction as a test, correct? So there is a certain test which we can use that here. So before going into that, just write down what are the types of products we can expect here. We will expect here to get HCOO minus and sorry and CHCl3. Well, this HCO minus, I could also write this as HCOO twice Ca, considering that is calcium which I have took. Here also I can write this as HCO minus Na plus and CHI3. Here it is bromine, so you'll get HCO minus plus CHBr3. Okay, so this is like a generalized reaction, especially to make chlorine, bromine and iodine forms. So I'll get HCO minus Na plus CHCl3. Got it? So these are all the ways by which I can prepare these haloforms. Okay. Let's focus on the mechanism now. This is a very important mechanism, guys, because haloform reaction always comes in, all the chapters from here onwards. Now, before getting into the mechanism, I would like you to ask few simple things. Let's see how we can deal with these types. Suppose, okay, few simple reactions. Suppose if you have, let's say, any halide here, this X could be chlorine, bromine or iodine that has been treated in the presence of aqueous OH minus. We are pretty sure that we will get this as OH. Even if you take KHCO3 aqueous or K2CO3 aqueous or Na2CO3 aqueous, in all of these cases we will have sufficient amount of OH minus to make that X replaced by OH, and I am sticking only to primary and secondary. Okay. Similarly, now watch this reaction very carefully. In case if we already have an alcohol, okay, let's say there is an alcohol here, maybe with some R group. Now, how do we usually write this alcohol? This is CHOH and CH3. If this is being treated with OH minus, that means if OH minus is present in the solution, right, we can expect an simple equilibrium that which is established as R CH CH3 O minus and H2O. Okay, most of the time the equilibrium will be on the backward direction, right, because if you observe, this is stronger base compared to that of OH minus, right? But think this way, in case if there is halide present, sufficient amount of X2 is being given, whether it is chlorine, bromine or iodine, if this is given, there is a chance that this O minus will definitely attack on this X and remove this X, correct? So O will attack here as a nucleophile and X will act like an electrophile, accept the electrons in its empty orbital, empty pi sigma star orbital, and X minus will come out. So what do we expect to happen here? We'll have H CH3 O X plus X minus. So which means if you have a halide in the solution, this reaction will drive in the forward direction. Okay, and after this you see CHOX CH3. Now OH minus, because we have enough OH minus, that itself is a solvent, so it's a basic solution solvent. So this OH minus will again take away this proton because it is attached to a very strongly withdrawing group here now. OX itself is a withdrawing group. So we can expect that this OH minus will extract this proton, got it, and move this to C O minus, and as this O minus is forming, you can see that here this bond will shift on to C double bond O. Okay, as that C double bond comes over, again I can expect this X minus to come out. So we can expect that C double bond O formation and CH3 with H2O and X minus to form. Okay. Now you could ask me, sir, how this reaction is favoring? There are two reasons for it. One, there is sufficient amount of base. Second, C double bond O is strong. So this is a very strong bond. So the motivation for that is if it can form a strong bond, here it will undergo oxidation. So if you observe, the conclusion is whether I start with a halide or with a alcohol, we will end up with ketone or an aldehyde if you react OH minus and X2, right? So just make a note of that. This fundamental is very important because henceforth from now onwards we will directly deal with aldehydes and ketones. But you should know in the background what if at all we take halides or what if we take halogens. The important point to note is alcohols especially 1 degree and 2 degree undergoes oxidation with X2 in OH minus. So this is first important concept which you need to learn. Now second important concept, suppose if we take R C double bond O and H, aldehyde or ketone, it doesn't matter, and if at all I have only OH minus solution, if you have only OH minus solution, what could happen? This OH minus can attack as a nucleophile here and R, this would go O minus, H and OH. This type of an attack, if you remember, this is a nucleophilic addition, and because it is changing the geometry from planar to tetrahedral, we remember we used to call this as SNTD mechanism. We can see SNTD, but the problem is here O minus is again unstable form, so it will come back here, removes out OH minus because solvent itself is OH minus, so reaction will again go back. And if you compare these two, right, this is more stable form, the ketone is more stable form here, so reaction will be mostly in the backward direction. The reaction will be mostly in the backward direction here. Got it? So this is second important logic we must understand. If it is only base, then aldehydes or ketones will be stable in the base. They are not going to, there will be tautomerism happening between enol and enolate ion and aldehydes and ketones. But you know that, right? Majority of the time, the percentage amount of enol is more unless there is any stabilizing factor coming to that, enolates. But in case if there is an halide present now, so what from here, let's see the mechanism, how the mechanism starts now. So basically if you take any particular ketone which is like this CH3, okay, now this time OH minus, instead of attacking here, it won't attack here anymore, instead it will act like a base and extract this proton. On extracting that proton, what do we get here? We'll get R C double bond O CH2 minus plus H2O. Got it? But still you know that reaction would be mostly in the backward direction. But to move this reaction to forward direction, what we can see, R C double bond O CH2 minus which is forming, because it is in the basic medium, it will undergo tautomerism and it will form enolate ion. You know that will have R C O minus. double bond CH2. This is enolate ion. And as you can see, even small amount of enolate as it forms immediately in the presence of X2. This pi would attack on this X, removing out this X here, and we can have RCO minus, right, with CH2X. As soon as this X comes here, which means this O minus is making it as a double bond. So we will see there is a double bond formation here and CH2X is been forming. So this reaction will only happen if we have in the presence of X2. Okay. So this is a step 1 where RC double bond of CH3 in reaction with OH minus has formed, alpha halo ketone, right? So this is a halo which has been substituted on alpha position. See the second step now. We'll have R C double bond O CH2X. Now this time this hydrogen has become even more acidic, right? Because there is a withdrawing group, halogen, which is a withdrawing group by induction. Okay, right? So X is going to pull that electrons by inductive effect. So this hydrogen, this has become even more acidic. So the reaction will start becoming faster now. So OH minus will again attack here. So we'll get R C double bond O CH. Okay, I'll put the equilibrium sign. Right. So we'll get CH minus and X here. Right. So that will again undergo tautomerism to get R C O minus double bond CH X. So from there again R C O minus double bond CH X will attack X2. This pi will attack here. This X minus will leave. Double bond will regain. So we'll get R C double bond O CH X and X. So this is step 2. So it is a di alpha halo ketone which has been formed now. Now again this hydrogen becomes even more acidic. We'll have R C double bond O C H X2. So this H has become even more acidic now. So OH minus will take away this proton and we'll get R C double bond O CX2 minus, which will form an enolate again here as RCO minus double bond CX2. Right. So this RCO minus double bond CX2 will again treat with X2 here. This group will leave. So we'll have R and this would join as double bond C double bond O CX3. So this is what has been formed. So 3 steps, check out carefully. So all those hydrogens were replaced by halogens, right? So once we have that, we get now R C double bond O CX3 formation here. This time when the OH minus attacks, there is no other way but to attack as a nucleophile now. This is step 4. There is no other way but to attack as a nucleophile. So here you would see CO minus, CX3 and OH. This is a complete SNTD mechanism now, right? Now this time when OH closes, between OH minus and CX3, CX3 is a better leaving group. So that's how carbon-carbon bond is finally breaking up. So we'll have R C double bond O OH plus CX3 minus. So finally if you see that R C double bond O OH plus CX3 minus, CX3 minus being a base, extract this proton and you'll get R C double bond O minus plus CHX3. So that's how we will see haloform is formed. Check the important features of this haloform reaction. The RDS is this one, the attack of OH minus. Got it? Right? So the addition of OH minus is the RDS, not the removal. Usually students get confused with this, not this removal. Okay. So here itself is the rate determining step. So does it matter whether it is a particular type of halogen, like it is chlorine, bromine or iodine? No, right? So because the rate only depends on that first step. So therefore we can say that reactivity wise, you would see chlorine would almost show the same reactivity as bromine, as same reactivity as iodine. Okay, only thing you got to remember, if it is iodine, in case of iodine, I2, yellow precipitate of CHI3 is formed. Got this? Now let us see how many moles of different reactants have been involved so far. Okay. So if you see it from the start, if you take CH, CH double bond, sorry, R, C double bond O, CH3, if you check it out, from there, let's just keep counting from here. How many bromines have been involved here? How many halogens have been involved in? One here, right? And then two here, correct? Then again three here, right? So three of them has been involved here if you check it out. So one and the third step here, the second step, one in the first step here. So 3 moles have been involved. Got it? If it was if it was with this one, if it was with halogens, correct, because I'll write it from halogens. If it was for halogens, first there would be one X2 already involved. Can you see that? Because it has to undergo oxidation. So let me write it from halogen onwards. If it is from ketone, 3 moles. If it is from alcohols, it is 4 moles. So R, CHOH and CH3 plus 4 moles of Br2 in case if it is bromine, and totally you would, if you count, there would be 6 moles of NaOH. All of this have involved to get CHBr3 plus CHC double bond O, O minus, Na plus, right, plus 5 moles of NaBr. This is the final reaction, overall reaction, in case if you take Br2 in NaOH. Okay. Now the point is it every time the reactant is given this way only, Br2 in NaOH? Not necessary. Sometimes it would be given this way. See, if you just recall, what happens if I take chlorine in the presence of NaOH? If I take this solution itself, you know that in cold we will have NaCl plus NaOBr, NaOCl. The same thing is valid for all the halides, right? So which means X2 in NaOH cold, we know that we will get NaX plus NaOX. So sometimes instead of giving X2 in NaOH, the reagent can be given as this way also. Simply the reagent can be given as NaOX aqueous, which also means it is forming sufficient amount of halide will be present in it, which will give an iodoform reaction, haloform reaction. Okay. It is with sodium. Sometimes it can be given with calcium also, CaOX whole twice. Correct? Or we would be given with barium also, BaOX twice. That X could be chlorine, bromine or iodine. Okay guys, the reaction meant the same thing. So what is the observation here? That as long as, check again, okay, haloform reaction is been seen as long as either a halide or a OH group or a C double bond O which carries a methyl here, correct? They must have a methyl group. If there is no methyl group, further reaction won't take place, which means, let me tell you, suppose if you have suppose if we have this X here like this, first in the presence of OH minus, we know that we will get to OH, and that in the presence of X2 and OH minus, sorry, we will oxidize that to C double bond O here. From there, if you treat that with X2 in the presence of OH minus, the final product which you will end up is only C double bond O. Both sides sufficient amount of X get replacing all the hydrogens. This is the final product. So there is no haloform that is forming. Are you getting this? So it is not going to give a positive haloform test. Now most of the time iodoform is taken as the important test because it can give a precipitate. So it becomes very famous iodoform test now. So iodoform test. So iodoform test is nothing but identifying the methyl carrying halogens, alcohols or carboxylic groups. Write down that methyl carrying halogen, okay, alcohol or carbonyl groups. So it will identify that. As long as methyl is present, it will give a positive test. Got it? So I would list out, you just have to check out which of them are giving haloform test, which of them are giving positive iodoform test. That X could be chlorine, bromine or iodine, okay? Henceforth, you will always come across this as an integer type question. So start learning how to predict the halogens. Right, so let's check the first one. Do we have any methyl here? There is no methyl here. It is a primary alcohol, but it is not ending up with, methyl at beta position. So this is not going to give iodoform test. Next, this is a tertiary alcohol ending up with methyl, but unfortunately tertiary alcohols does not get oxidized to form aldehydes or ketones. So even that does not give iodoform test. Third one, you know that this is a halogen. Halogen will first change into alcohol. Alcohol will then convert into aldehyde or respective ketone here. So the ketone which it converts into is this, right? So this is how it goes. And this ketone does has a methyl group on it. So it will definitely give a positive iodoform test. Next one, the same thing has been directly given here. So you can see there is a methyl group here. So definitely it will give a positive iodoform test. After that, an acid will only make an acid base reaction with OH minus. After that, further reaction won't take place at all. Although this acid is ending up with certain methyl group here at the alpha position, it is not going to make any reaction once it becomes a salt. In fact, all the acid derivatives, whether it is just an acid or an anhydrate or an ester, they do not give this reaction. So iodoform is not by acid derivatives. If you have only methanol, it is not going to give, because methanol may convert into formaldehyde, but formaldehyde will not undergo further oxidation after that. It will not have any methyl group after that. So there is no iodoform reaction. Next, you see here there are two halogens here. Those two halogens will be replaced by two OH groups, and two OH groups will make a ketone here, and this definitely has a methyl form on it, so this will also give positive iodoform test. This is an acid derivative, amide is an acid derivative, it does not give positive iodoform test. Anhydride is an acid derivative, does not give positive iodoform test. Here you can see Br is present, right, and that will be converted into alcohol and further ketone with a methyl group present on it, so this will also give haloform test. Next, this will also give haloform test because there are two X groups here. If you replace, there is a methyl group present on it, so that can undergo haloform formation. Here you will get an aldehyde formation because there are two X, we will get an aldehyde, but aldehyde is not ending up with methyl, right? So it is more like a propyl group here, so this part is ethyl, so ethyls does not give that haloform. But here if you check out the next one, this is ending up with CH3CHO, right? Because those two chlorines will be replaced by two OH groups here, and it will end up with this methyl group, so hence this would also give positive iodoform test. This is a secondary alcohol. Secondary alcohol does has at the terminal end it has one methyl, and that is sufficient. Even though there is crowding, this reaction will take place and iodoform is seen. Next, CH3CHO, just now we have discussed, there is a methyl group present here, so definitely iodoform will be positive. Here also there is a methyl group, in the next case this will also give positive. Next one, if you see, this is acetophenone, so we have CH3 here, right, and then we have benzene present on that. So here also you can see CH3 present on it, which means iodoform is not just for alkyl, it is also for aryl. For aryls also it will give positive iodoform test. Here unfortunately there is an ethyl group, so ethyl group doesn't give it, so this ethyl does not give it, so no iodoform reaction here. Okay, so this is ethers will not give iodoform at all. In here you can see one side there may be a phenyl group, but the other side there is CH3, that is sufficient enough to get iodoform reaction done. Now this is interesting, when you have diketones or beta cyclic ketones, then how do we proceed here? Okay, now remember this, when you may have learned this in tautomerism, this carbon, right, the hydrogens which are present on it, that is a methylene group, right, active methylene group. It has two hydrogens on it and those are active methylene groups. So first I will directly write here that in the presence of iodine and OH minus, those two hydrogens are quite acidic, so they will be replaced. So we will definitely get double bond O, iodine and iodine here. Okay. After that, OH minus will attack here, and we will get double bond O, iodine, right, and we'll get O minus and OH. Now when this bond tries to close, this bond will break, correct? So when this happens, this bond will break here. Okay, this only happens in cyclic form, and then we would get double bond O with two iodines. Keep writing along with me. Sorry, the bond is broken here. So it is connected this way, and we would have this double bond O and OH. Right, so this will take away this hydrogen, this minus will take away this hydrogen here, so we will get double bond O, CHI2, we will get CHI2 formation, and then we have double bond O and O minus. Now observe carefully, this is like, in general when we do CH3 here, we come up to this step anyway, right? After this, further step has to be done. So which means, again if we react this with I2 and NaOH, right, that entire thing will go and we will have an acid formation on that side also. So O minus, and here also we had double bond O and O minus, Na plus, and we will get that as CHI3. So that's how we'll get halogenation, iodoform reaction. This is a yellow precipitate. So active methylene groups, if at all they are present in a cyclic form, also they would give this test. Now, if at all I take this carbon as isotopic, same active methylene but in straight chain. Here also we will observe the same thing happening, I2 and OH minus. Okay, so we will see here as double bond O. Okay, I'll put this as R and R just to not confuse with those methyls. If at all they might also undergo iodoform. That's a confusion we usually have. So we'll get double bond O, R, two iodines here, right? Then after that, further splitting, I'll write the final product here, OH minus I2. Got it? So this entire carbon will come out as CHI3. So we will get this as CHI3 forming a precipitate, and these two R groups will have R, C double bond O, O minus, Na plus of 2 moles. If they are different R, you will just write it as R and R dash. For this also, if you treat with iodoform OH minus, even though this double bond, you can see this C double bond O is in conjugation with this C double bond C, it doesn't matter as long as there is CH3 present on it. Still, this will go for an iodoform reaction. So you will get double bond O here with C double bond O, O minus formation plus CHI3.